I know you've all been waiting for this one, kids. I think you're gonna love it. It's the world-famous Brutal Doom by Sergeant Mark IV. And you're like, Civvie, why would you do Thy Flesh Consumed on Brutal Doom? I thought you said no Brutal Doom. And on realism? I mean, yeah, it's crazy to think that I might want to do it like that, but hear me out. Virtual Boy Wario Land. April Fool's, motherfucker. Civvie's doing his first console game, and it's on the Virtual Boy. Yeah, cool, very soothing. Oh, God! I've owned a few consoles in my life. My family wasn't rich, you know, but when I was a kid we had an NES, not too many games for that. The standards, Mario 1, 2, and 3, Duck Hunt, Tetris, Skate or Die, Spider-Man and the Return of the Sinister Six. Had an original Game Boy which is buried under a pile of ash at the old house. It probably still turns on. Had a PlayStation 1 and like 5 games, but no bullshit, I had a Virtual Boy. It's long gone now, lost to time, and probably pretty broken because that stand, the stand, I cracked that piece of shit off and used to lay down with the thing on my face because I didn't want to get the scoliosis trying to find a place to put this beastly fucking thing up. The stand was removable, but you know, I was 8. And you're wondering what kind of sick parents would buy their kids a Virtual Boy. Probably because it was on clearance. Console didn't do so well because it turns out you have to have an option to interrupt the game every 15 or 30 minutes so you don't get a seizure. This was 3D gaming in the 90s. I can't talk about most of the Virtual Boy games because I didn't have them. I had Mario Tennis and Virtual Boy Wario Land. The best game on the system. And no, I don't need to play Virtual Bowling to know that. Somebody must have known this was going to be a failure going in, because whatever Mario game that could have possibly been in production, like one of those classic Mario platformers, never got one on this system. Instead you get this. And it's not bad. Not at all. In fact, it's one of my favorite Wario games. Still not as good as 4 on the GBA, but it's actually pretty fun if you give it a chance. And I was gonna do a thing where I made all you watch it in the black and red original colors, and say, April Fools, but nah, Katie, relieve them. This is a much nicer, softer blue color. The contrast has been turned down a little bit, so it's not glaring. You're welcome. That's better on your eyes, right? I played this whole game in black and red for this video. Hadn't played this in years and years, to be honest, not since original hardware. I often wonder if Nintendo will release some kind of remaster or remake that isn't ugly as sin, you know, since they actually have a 3D console now. No, not that one, this one. I understand, though, how everybody could have forgotten. The extent of the 3D used in this game is this. Not even a bad mechanic. Sometimes the game messes with you while you're trying to do it, like here, in one of the later levels where foreground blocks background. Yeah, it's interesting, right? This is a lot less like a normal Wario game, to be honest, and it has a lot more in common with a Mario title. In Wario games, you had more environmental interaction, more puzzles. Some of the earlier ones don't even give you a health bar. Now that I think about it, this was the first Wario game I ever played. So when I was a kid, I thought Wario was just a Mario clone. The most Mario-like thing is the power-ups. I like them, they're fun, even if sometimes they make the game easy. It's not like Super Mario Land easy, where you can beat it in 20 minutes. And it throws some curveballs at you occasionally, like you walk into a room and... The red and black only makes this more horrifying. I played the hell out of this game as a kid. I still remember where all the treasure is. To get a good ending, you have to pick up these hidden treasure items in this level, but also complete the game in under 2 hours. And then also get a ton of coins. But I don't do that. I don't do the coins. Hearts get you 1-ups. Coins get you shit. You know what coins do? They let you play the heart minigame between levels so you can get more 1-ups. There's a heart minigame and a coin minigame. The coin minigame is a game of chance. Fuck it, it sucks. And the heart minigame has you jumping to avoid bats to get more hearts. 100 and you get an extra life, and gems, which are 1-ups in this game. I used to be a pro at this part. Fuck yeah. The last time I played this game, I wasn't allowed to say fuck. What's the story of this game? I don't know. Wario's just hanging around and some guys take some treasure, and he's a greedy little shit. He'll rob anybody blind. He'll wipe out their whole civilization and take their gold. Wario is a prick. He's basically a Spanish conquistador, but with jumping and fun hats instead of smallpox. So, mechanically, this game is fine. It works, platforming feels good, but this is an issue that messes with me. This here's the Virtual Boy controller. No analog sticks, which is normal for 1995. But it's got 2 D-pads. Beside the fact that the batteries were kept in the back of the controller, 6 AA's, or that if you plug the fucker into the wall, the brick was on the back of the controller, it's not bad. It's a decent layout for a controller. So naturally, a year later, this happened. Don't at me about how the Nintendo 64 controller is good. It's not. It never has been. It never will be. The sun will burn out, and the earth will become a cold, barren, desolate wasteland before that controller isn't a hand-cramping trident of engineering malpractice. But I digress. I don't get to talk about consoles a lot. Anyway, game starts showing off its 3D effects, with these spiked balls here swinging in and out, and it's done well enough, never felt like the hit detection was off or anything. To complete a level in this game, you have to find a key to unlock an elevator at the end of the stage, which brings you up to the next floor. Wario starts off as Big Wario, and if you get damaged, he turns into an angry-looking dwarf. These things here are called garlic bottles, and if you get one as Small Wario, you get turned into Big Wario. If you get 2, you turn into Viking Wario, or Bull Wario. The main difference between the two is that Viking Wario can butt smash. While without the power-up, you only do this body slam. Butt smashing stuns enemies on the screen. If you're Small Wario, you can't really do anything. You can't break blocks, stun enemies, you can't even charge monsters. You can jump on top of enemies and pick them up. That's it. You have to toss them at another enemy in order to kill them. Later you get the Sea Dragon power-up, which takes away the butt smash, but now your hat is a flamethrower. You get this on level 3 in the underwater stage, and it works. Sure, why not? Flamethrower underwater, great. You can also get the Eagle statue, which lets you attack a little faster, and oh yeah, you can also fly. Get an Eagle statue or a Sea Dragon power-up one after the other, and you turn into King Dragon Wario, which owns everything in the game. Even blocks, because your projectile attack goes through blocks and can either break them or activate question blocks across the whole screen, and wreck enemies. And you can fly. Like a Mario game, enemies tend to be spiked hazards. Losing power-ups in this game sucks, but the power-ups are everywhere. Again, this is a fairly easy game made for children. Even though everything is tinted red, there's a surprising amount of variety in the levels. Oh, by the way, everything is red on the Virtual Boy because red LEDs were cheaper. Believe it or not, this is a 32-bit console. If everything wasn't fucking red, it would have aged better. The animations are pretty smooth and the game handles well. Game sounds like, well, it sounds blippy and boopy like an old console game. It's not terrible, it's not great. I like some of the music, especially the Stage 3 music. I liked it so much it's in Pro Wang 3. And now it's time for Water Torture, the most Episode 3 level of Episode 3. Cramped, full of high-level monsters, traps. I can't even skip all the killer koi here, kids. Very comfy. As far as the stages go, you got your cave levels, you've got your underwater levels, which actually aren't bad. Having a working flamethrower helps. Being able to swim kind of fast helps too. The Virtual Boy controller actually had left and right trigger buttons that would make Wario sprint. It also works to make him swim faster. Most of the stages are different enough from one another to not get repetitive. There's only 10 of them, 14 if you count the boss levels, which I don't. They're short and not, you know, forest levels, temple levels, Egyptian levels with quicksand and basically piranha plants. It's weird though. When was the last time you saw a 2D animated piranha plant in a game? Were they ever this smoothly animated? This is what, a year out before Mario went 3D? If this had actual color and shading and not just black and 3 shades of red, we're talking about 2 displays inside the console, one for each eye, with a whopping 384 by 224 resolution. Right in your face, compared to something like the other handheld consoles of the time. Like the Game Gear was 160 by 144 pixels, and the Game Boy Color was the same, Shit, in 1995, I was playing PC games in 320 by 240. So yeah, the red sucks, but it wouldn't be Nintendo if they didn't have crackpot ideas that somehow work out for them. This one didn't, but whatever. In the desert levels, I feel kinda bad killing these things in front of the doors. Look at their eyes. If you've played a Nintendo platformer, this stuff isn't really new. A couple enemies use the separate planes thing, like this fish, which swims back and forth, and one time actually got me. The other fish has a chainsaw face. I don't know what that adds, but I enjoy it. Most of the challenge comes from finding secret areas by destroying blocks. Some of the blocks you can just charge at, others require flames, some require flames and you can't tell just by looking at them, but it is wood, I guess, so I'm an idiot. Anyway, the King Dragon power-up in this game makes everything easier, and if you play that heart minigame well enough, you'll be set on extra lives. There is an expert mode too. It has faster enemies and more spike traps if you feel the game was too easy. Which I do, because it was. Except this level. This level is a bitch. You see all the fire, right? Yeah, this one doesn't need more traps. I can't say that the controls are tight enough to manage all of this stuff. For fuck's sake, it's 1995, it's a platformer on a Nintendo console. They're not gonna make bad platforming until Mario 64. My only complaint with the levels is the penultimate stage, which is a visual nightmare. Very noisy and confusing to my eyes. It's probably better when you're playing it on the original hardware. It's been so long since I've done it on a Virtual Boy that I can't say for sure. And the only way to progress through the stage is through secret pipes. The secret pipes being right in the path of things shooting spiked balls at you that bounce, and another thing that's probably helped by the 3D effect. Every few stages you face a boss, also pretty easy. I think I had the most trouble with the first one. The boss stages usually make use of the 3D effect with jumping around the screen. The first one, you gotta jump on his head while avoiding the spiked ball. 3 hits and he's done. The second one is this thing called the Sandfish. The Sandfish messed with me because what you have to do is get behind him to confuse him so he'll be open for attack, and then a question mark shows up above his head. Hit him 3 times. The third boss, Tank and Operator, is the easiest in my opinion, because while he spams you with projectiles, you can lead him to the foreground, chill in the background, and he'll volley you with projectiles that don't seem to hit you while you're jumping from the background, where you can land on him, knock him out of his armor, and then jump right on his head. All these bosses are guarded by this thing, which you have to avoid, and only have to hit twice. At first he jumps towards you, then the second time he has missiles, then the third time he has lasers, then the fourth time, homing missiles. Again, this is a children's game with simple and recognizable patterns. The final boss is this fucking nightmarish thing. I'm not kidding, when I was younger, this thing is so weird looking, and makes this noise when you hit him. You have to jump back and forth to bash him right in the nose, and when the battle starts you can get a free hit in. Makes sense that he's the hardest part of this game. The claw attack is easy enough to avoid, but then he spits fire on the platform, which is hard to avoid in the first place because of how it spreads. If you'll allow me to change the colors back for a minute. The fire is the same color as the fucking platform. Good shit, Nintendo. You finish him with 5 hits. And then you rob the place blind. I got all the treasure items, but that doesn't give you the good ending. To get the good ending, you need like 50,000 coins or something like, nah, fuck that, that's tedious. And one of the good ending stipulations is completing the game in under 2 hours, which I did. It's not a long game, and I know where most of the stuff is, so I got this ending where Wario flies out on a giant bag of coins on a magic carpet with a suspicious looking lamp. That implies he gets a genie. That's cool. Having a magic carpet and a genie is a pretty good ending, I'd say. But then you can also fly on this bike zeppelin, or one of these horrifying bird creatures. Best ending, though, still has the magic carpet, and Wario also gets this bunny-eared sexy lady who fans him? Okay, that's cool too. If you spend the time to collect 50,000 coins in this game and get all the treasure, you get some pussy. Not a bad game at all, in my opinion. Swept under the rug for its associations with the Virtual Boy, which is perfectly understandable. Raise your hand if you can think of a company that released a console that gave people seizures and is still around. Only Nintendo. Please don't flag this video for fucking Virtual Boy Wario Land, Nintendo. I promise I'll pay $8 fucking for Ice Climber.